Mr. Carroll, you have all of the board members.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being with us today. At this time, I'd like to call the March the 1st, 2021 special call meeting to order. At this time, I need a motion to be able to conduct this meeting virtually. May I have a motion? Second. I have a motion by Mr. Dennis Edwards and a second by Mr. Alan West. Any discussion? If not, I yield to you, Ms. Valerie.
Thank you, sir. As I call your name, please indicate your attendance, and then we will take your vote on the motion to conduct the meeting virtually. So for attendance, Chris Clark.
Here, and I.
Okay, that's fine. I can take it like that. That'll work. Dennis Edwards.
Here, and I.
Thank you. Tim Benton.
Here, and I.
Thank you, sir. Gary Rhoda.
Here, and nay.
Thank you, sir. Vincent Rozier.
Here, and I.
Thank you, sir. Corey Singletary.
Here, and nay.
Thank you, sir. Alan West.
Here, and I.
Thank you, sir. Glenn McCoy.
Here, I.
Thank you, sir. Roger Carroll.
Here, and I.
Thank you, sir. And for attendance, do we have Mr. Gary Grady?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, you have 7 yeses and 2 noes for the motion.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask if Mr. Clark would lead us in our invocation, followed by Mr. Tim Benton, if he would lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for doing that. At this time, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. Make a motion. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Dennis Edwards and a second by Mr. Chris Clark. Any discussion?
Yeah, I have discussion, Mr. I don't even know what this agenda is about.
The agenda is before you, Mr. Rhoda.
All I see is, I don't see anything what the agenda is about. I mean, I know what I have before me, but it does not show what the agenda is about. It says personnel, and then on the action item is superintendent search.
And we're dealing with personnel tonight. That's what we're dealing with.
For the last 3 weekends, we've been dealing with personnel, and don't you think the community should know what's going on? The community, we've been in 3 closed session meetings, and the community don't know one iota of what's going on in these special meetings.
And then, Mr. Carroll, why can't we wait until the meeting of March the 8th to conduct this business on personnel?
This meeting was discussed in closed session that we would handle this meeting as soon as we got things in order. And that's as far as I can go with it. Because
it was not
discussed. Can I say something
in
about
closed
order, Mr. Carroll? It appears to me that you are having meetings with certain persons. And I can tell you why I said that. Because the first meeting that we came to, after we voted to approve the agenda, Mr. Clark made a motion to go directly into closed session. That tells me, or it seems to me, that you all had a meeting without me. Is that true, Mr. Carroll?
No, sir, we did not have a meeting without you, Mr. Roder.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mr. Carroll. Why, when Glenn McCoy said in the first meeting we had about the superintendent search that he made a motion to close out that meeting so that we wouldn't be looking suspect. But Mr. Carroll, ever since he made that motion, we've been looking suspect. Because the community don't know anything what we're doing. And one question I want to ask each one of these board members, Mr. Carroll, why don't we want other people to be seen as applying for this job? Why can't the board members, each board member tell the community why they don't want other people applying for this job? When it make more sense to see what's all out there.
Mr. Roder,
Now, that's what's suspect. Now, Mr. Carroll, that's what's suspect right there.
anybody else?
Yes. From the first time we had a special call meeting, like Mr. Roder said, it's been suspect. I mean, and nobody else can apply for this position. And y'all been gung-ho about one person ever since we started this. Nobody else can apply for the meet. The community don't know what's going on. And they need an explanation. The community needs to know what's going on. We need to stop behind these politics and tell the community what's going on. You don't want to tell the community what's going on because you've got a hidden agenda. That's why you will not tell the community what's going on. It's only one person that y'all were interested in. Nobody else's name was brought up in this conversation. And we have qualified people in the county that wants to apply for this job. Their names were not even mentioned. I mentioned them, but they were shot down as soon as I mentioned them. And y'all need to explain to the community why we are going through 3 closed session meetings and they do not know what's going on.
And tell them why you don't want anybody else to apply for this job. The community got a right to know that. Each individual board member ought to tell the community that. Why you don't want anybody else to apply for this job. You know what it seems to me, Mr. Carroll? It seems like to me that there's so much stuff under the rug that you don't want nobody else to come in here and uncover it.
Well, I have to disagree with you there, Mr. Ray.
You can disagree all you want. I know there's stuff up under that rug. I have to bring some of it out.
Well, and you know, that is up to you, Mr. Roder. But I've got a motion on the floor, and I've got a second. I give time for discussion. I'm yielding to Valerie Newton to take a vote.
Well, we're not finished.
I knew that's what you were going to do. Matter of fact, I discussed that with people that you were going to do that, did not hear what we got to say.
I've
At least let us know what we got to say. If the other board members don't want to say what they got to say, we're up for discussion. The discussion ain't over yet.
I heard Mr. Rozier, you said in the open session, the morale of the community, the morale of people in the school. What kind of morale do you think this is going to give people that are qualified to apply for this position, but they never have the opportunity to apply? How you think the morale is going to be in the school system then?
Or he just care about one person's morale?
Mr. Secretary, you directed that to me. Is the other person you asked me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What I think the morale is going to be? I think it's going to be the same as it was when we had Dr. Taylor, because we can't bring people up through the ranks. Now, if you show me something different, I'm listening.
Now, you talking about something different.
Say again?
We're trying to show you something different. But, Mr. Rozier, you are the one that said, if we don't go about this thing right, the morale from the individuals that want to apply for this superintendent, the morale is going to be some type of way.
Okay, what names? How come we ain't bring them names to it? Who
I brought them names up. Them names were ain't even discussed. And you say, how this even fair to the people just in the and that already work in the school system? How is that fair to them? That there was only one person discussed this whole time.
And Mr. Rozier, why don't you want anybody else to apply for that job? Tell the community that.
My personal feelings are, and what was stated was, the fact that we had someone already in the position that we'll give them a 2-year contract.
That is not the question, Mr. Rozier.
What's your
Why
question?
don't you want anybody else to apply for it?
But Mr. Rozier just said it. He just said it.
Who else? I could care less who applied for it.
But he
But
just
that
said
ain't how you voted, Mr. Rozier.
I voted for a 2-year contract versus a 4-year, because I wouldn't even vote for a 4-year. And that was my consensus.
that explains it. That explains it.
What are you saying?
You already put the man in the position. You just said it, that you
That
already
was my
voted for 2
personal-
years. You
Listen,
already put the man in the position. Nobody else could get a shot at this position because
That
you
was my
already
personal.
put it.
Let me say something. That was my personal preference. Now, I can't speak for nobody else on the board as we speak as a board collectively. That was my preference. And if you remember, when it came around the first time, I couldn't see it. I couldn't go with when Mr. Benton made a motion for a 4-year contract. We put Mr. Atkins in there as an interim. And during this COVID time, I left it at that and said I wish him the best for the next couple of years.
Mr. Rozier, you're not still telling why you don't want anybody else to apply for that job.
Why I would not want somebody else? Who else put their name in the box?
Mr. Rozier,
Nobody else had the chance to.
Mr. Rozier, you don't know what you're getting until you see what's coming in to apply for the job. You don't know what you're missing, Mr. Rozier.
I can listen to that, but I'm saying that.
And also, Mr. Rozier, excuse me for cutting you off again, but you told me all about one candidate's accomplishments, and you didn't compare it to anything else.
You could have told about everybody else's accomplishments if you wanted to.
You didn't compare with anybody else because there was nobody else to compare with.
That's why when you
Mr.
follow the
Chairman,
same
could I
procedures-
speak, please?
Hey,
Please
Mr.
do.
Grady's got the floor.
I would like to remind the board that the issue before the board is the adoption of the agenda. That's it.
Well, we don't even know what the agenda is.
Well, I understand, but I'm just telling you that is the issue before the board, and I would warn the board discussing any particular individuals of any kind in open session at this point.
But Mr. Grady, it's been three call meetings, and the community that doesn't have a clue what's going on.
I would remind you that any final action relating to personnel has to be taken in open session. Okay?
That's why we're discussing it on open session.
Well,
Because I believe the community needs to know what's going on.
Any final
We're about to do something. We're about to do something in a school system that the community has no clue about.
any
And
final
that's
action.
totally wrong. That is totally wrong, Mr. Grady. That's unacceptable. Anywhere that's unacceptable.
Generally closed session, a board can consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment. Generally, that's what's considered in closed session to protect the privacy of individuals. I would suggest that any individuals be discussed in closed session and that we limit debate to the agenda.
I called the
Well,
order.
don't call any name out here in open session, Mr. Grady.
I called the order. And I called for a vote, Miss Valerie.
See, we always being rushed.
Miss Valerie.
Mr. Grady, let me ask you a question here. Mr. Grady, can I ask you a question?
Well, the chairman has called for a vote. I think the vote needs to go forward.
Well, he called for discussion also, Mr. Grady. We haven't finished discussion.
Well, the chairman controls the debate.
I called to order and asked for a vote on whether or not to accept the agenda or not. Miss Valerie.
As I call your name, please indicate your vote. Chris Clark. Dennis Edwards. Tim Benton. Gary Rhoda.
Nay.
Vincent Rozier. Corey Singletary.
Nay.
Alan West. Glenn McCoy. Roger Carroll. Mr. Chairman, you have 7 yeses and 2 noes.
Thank you very much, Miss Valerie. At this time, I need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel as per NCGS 143.318.11 to consult with an attorney if needed as per NCGS 143.318.11 and to discuss the student reassignment discipline per the 1974 Family Rights and Privacy Act. Do I have a motion?
Motion to go in closed session.
Second.
I have a motion to go into closed session and a second by Mr. Vince Rozier. Any further discussion? I yield to you, Miss Valerie.
As I call your name, please indicate your vote. Chris Clark. Dennis Edwards. Tim Benton. Gary Rhoda.
Nay.
Vincent Rozier. Corey Singletary.
Nay.
Alan West. Glenn McCoy. Mr. Chairman, you have 7 yeses and 2 noes.
Thank you very much. At this time, please log out of this meeting and into our closed session meeting. Thank you.
As I call your name, please indicate your attendance. Chris Clark.
Here.
Dennis Edwards.
Here.
Tim Benton.
Here.
Gary Rhoda.
Here.
Vincent Rozier.
Here.
Corey Singletary.
Here.
Alan West.
Here.
Glenn McCoy.
Here.
Roger Carroll.
Here.
Chairman, you have 9 board members in attendance.
Thank you very much. At this time, I need a motion to come out of closed session.
Make a motion to come out of closed session.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Chris Clark and a second by Mr. Edwards. Any discussion? I yield to you, Miss Valerie.
As I call your name, please indicate your vote. Chris Clark. Dennis Edwards. Tim Benton. Gary Rhoda. Vincent Rozier. Corey Singletary.
Nay.
Alan West. Glenn McCoy. Roger Carroll. Mr. Chairman, you have 8 yeses and 1 no.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask the board to elect Dr. Jason Atkinson as superintendent of the Bladen County Schools effective March the 15th, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, pursuant to the terms of the contract negotiated between the board and Dr. Atkinson, and further move that the chairman and the vice chairman be authorized to execute this contract. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to. Second.
Who is my motion?
Tim.
I have a motion by Mr. Tim Benton and a second by Mr. Chris Clark. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I want to just that this is Alan West. That I just for the record, I want to just say that I was for doing the superintendent search. I thought it not quite fair to the ones here in our district that wanted to apply, but I understand our board wanted to go in another direction. The majority wanted to go in another direction. And I'm going to support Dr. Atkinson with a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. West. I yield to you, Miss Valerie.
As I call your name, please indicate your vote. Chris Clark.
Aye.
Dennis Edwards.
Aye.
Tim Benton.
Aye.
Gary Rhoda.
Nay.
Vincent Rozier.
Aye.
Corey Singletary.
Nay.
Alan West.
Aye.
Glenn McCoy.
Aye.
Roger Carroll. Mr. Chairman, you have 7 yeses and 2 noes.
Thank you very much, board. And at this time, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Atkinson. We are looking forward to working with you, and any support that we can give, we definitely will give it to you. We're here. If you need us, just give us a call, and we're excited about moving forward. And thank you so very much. At this time, I need to have a motion to adjourn.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I assume that action item number 8, there's no action to take on that since we now have a superintendent. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Carroll, we that conversation. Mr. Carroll, we didn't hear the last 2 or 3 things that were stated on the recording here in the boardroom. So I don't know if they could repeat that or if you all have a record of that.
Which part was that, Mr. Gary? Or what I see?
Starting with Mr. Grady on, we heard the vote, but from there we didn't hear any of the comments.
Oh, okay. Well, I was congratulating you, Dr. Atkinson, on being our superintendent and expressing our gratitude that we're here. If you need us, just give us a call. And we're looking forward to working with you with the projects that we have coming up. And we're sure you'll do a fantastic job. And action item 8.01, we no further need, so there's no action to be taken at this time.
And Mr. Carroll, may I address the board, please?
Yes, please.
I want to thank the Board of Education tonight for your support in serving as the next superintendent of Bladen County Schools. I appreciate your confidence, and I know we can look forward to great things to continue to happen in our district. And I appreciate your support, and for all of you, all that you do for our children, our teachers, our staff, and our families here in Bladen County Schools. So I sincerely appreciate the board's support tonight and look forward to our continued partnership and our work together to make Bladen County Schools an even greater school system.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atkinson. And all that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Who gave me the motion?
I did, Rob.
I have a motion by Mr. Dennis Edwards and a second by Mr. Tim Bent, Mr. Alan West.
Your name, if you're able to.
Go ahead, Miss Valerie.
Okay. Chris Clark.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I think that second.
Oh,
I think that second wasn't me.
okay. Who was the second?
It was me, Tim.
Tim Benton. Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I yield to you, Miss Valerie.
Okay. Chris Clark. Dennis Edwards. Tim Benton. Gary Rhoda.
Aye.
Vincent Rozier.
Aye.
Corey Singletary. Corey Singletary. Alan West. Glenn McCoy. Roger Carroll. Mr. Chairman, we have 8 yeses and 1 non-vote.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your service. Continue to remember our children and our faculty and staff in your prayers. And we are adjourned. Thank you very much.